Hello, 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 my cohorts, and welcome to this installment that we will call, for the lack of better term, um, from the drawing board of Boyan. Boyan being me, your humble host and wacky tutor and uncle. Well, uh, frankly, I don't know why I don't make a live broadcast of this instead of um, taping it, so to say, taping it in advance. Well, to tell you frankly, I don't know. Oh, I know. My cell phone or mobile phone that I need for those live broadcasts on Facebook, um, it's on charger, and you know, the cable is too short, and I just couldn't put it here on this stand where the camera is. So before, oh my god, I'm plugging this company that produces drawing paper and pads. It wasn't my intention, so I apologize. I really want, um, pardon me for saying this, but I want to be paid when I'm uh, showing any product. So this is not a product placement. I'm not paid to do this advertisement, so to say. I'm going to show you things, how they look like when I'm doing pages. For instance, this is a 2-page Spider-Man thing that I did years and years ago. Why? Because I was told to do a 2-page Spider-Man proposal on spec, and I was told to use children as supporting characters, which are supposed to be like children that started to appear in then modern TV animation like Ed and Eddie, or was it Hey Arnold, or whoever. I was just told not to copy the style and draw it my way. Of course, the deadline was utterly short, so I started with this introduction panel. I didn't want to go wacky with the splash panel, the whole page like introduction. So we see that there is a city, we see a little boy entering some kind of an alley where a doggy awaits him. The proverbial remnant of the 80s clever pet that talks. Suddenly the boy is startled by another boy who comes out of the trash can. And of course, little by little, we see the children gathering, and suddenly they are surprised because, well, hey, the friend is coming. And the friend starts communication with them, and suddenly the scene is interrupted by an attack, and every red-blooded Spider-Man friendly neighborhood fan knows that these tentacles mean only one thing: Dr. Octopus is on the loose. As you can see, the pencils are quite tight. I never experimented. To tell you frankly, I never made copies or scans of these pages to try to see if I can darken it in Photoshop or something and skip inking completely. But in the old days, it was supposed to be inked. As you can see, I used this not ordinary paper from a pad or the one that I was cutting. It is custom-made paper. Some publishers actually provide it to their artists, having the logo of the company here or here on the left. This is the company called, as it is called, if you can read the name of the company, well, good for you. They are just one of the companies providing these professionally sized and pre-printed papers. You can see these light blue lines that help you to measure, you know, the tiers, and there are also vertical divisions. Whoops, I'm showing with the cigarette. Perish the thought. Ah, horrible, horrible. This is marker. This is not for smoking, not for vaping. It is ordinary marker. So you can see also these vertical divisions, so you don't need to waste your precious creative time measuring and double measuring. You just take the ruler and zoom, 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 zoom. You rule the doodah. And I, of course, have several rulers, but this drawing desk has the one here. So all I need is a trusty triangle for verticals, but otherwise I have my ruler here, which is very useful thing. I wanted to share with you something that I thought is obsolete, and actually it is obsolete. Pity I can't move my camera here to show you the vast treasure inside my drawers. This is a device made by the company called Linux or Linux. Anyway, it is a lettering guide, you know. And in the old days, when they didn't use computer lettering or pasting balloons on celluloid sheets before computers were made capable to do it, you use this with this rotating circle. You know, rotating this circle actually makes the distance between these dots different. So if you, for instance, let me demonstrate, like, let's pretend that I'm ruling a page for lettering. Let's say it is this page. Let's put this ruler here like this. So there is the lettering guide, right? And there is the trusty pencil. Oh, quite incidentally, this is the very mechanical pencil I used to pencil this Spider-Man proposal that, of course, nothing came out of it. So you use these lines to actually do this, to make parallel lines like this, you see? Can you see the lines here? And by rotating anti-clockwise, I think we are getting much larger distance between these lines. You see? Of course it is. And my lead broke, and it broke again. You see, it is the problem with this guide. It just eats the leads mercilessly. So you get the picture. This is how you rule the page, and then you use a pencil to block in the lettering, the dialogues and captions, whatnot. Or, if you are so brave or self-assured, why not? You immediately take a pen or rapidograph or whichever device to apply the ink on the page and letter the Verschlagener. Unfortunately, it's past. It's gone. That era has died. We no longer have balloons as integral part of the comic page. And as you can see, I tried to make a variety of shots, of perspectives, to avoid in something, well, not exactly too action-oriented. I wanted to avoid, you know, boredom, but perspective is sometimes problematic. Oh, by the way, you know this stain, what is it? It is the gray version of once bright white whiteout that we use to cover mistakes and unwanted dots and lines and whatever. Here is the vanishing point on horizon, a horizontal line that I have erased, but if camera was better, it would pick up the faint pencil lines of all the perspective grid that I have done with the ruler or triangle, I forgot. The most important thing is, yes, perspective can be faked, but to fake properly, please learn to do it properly. From a little bag of horrors, or rather portfolio of horrors of rejected ideas and so on and so forth, I'm not going to bother you and bore you to death with my video leaking of my wounds. I'm going to show you this Superman page, which is done. Some of you in the know probably recognize the animated style prevalent in Superman and Batman animation. Here I have used the company paper, the DC Comics paper that I had thanks to my friend John Watkins, who worked for Dark Horse, Marvel, and DC, and he had some spare sheets and he gave them to me. So one night I get a phone call from an agency in California, and they urgently need a page, just one page, only in pencils, no inks. They want Superman introduced. Actually, they wanted Clark Kent, the alter ego of Superman, changing, flying, and encountering Batman. So instead of starting them, perish the thought, fighting or just going for some kind of drink that superheroes consume, whatever, I drew this. Superman reacting to something or bringing decision, dramatic silhouette almost for him changing, and flying above Metropolis and landing apparently not in the uptown area, rather it is somewhere where a character like Batman would rather dwell, and that's it. They were impressed with my speed and the quality of art, and as per usual, nothing happened. I was nicely paid for what I did. That's one of the things in professional world of commercial art. In most of the cases, I can't say in all the cases, in most of the cases they pay you even for rejected art, and it is not the full page rate. In majority of situations it is the so-called kill-off fee, and that kill-off fee is something like I don't know, 60-70%, 65, I don't know, of the actual page rate. So from walking down the memory lane, let's go to talking about presents. Present time. This is a penciled version of a cover for a new comic that I'm doing, and as you can see at the bottom it is written, there is my signature, stylized letter B for Boyan, and it says after Frazetta, and I even faked Frazetta's signature. Why? Because there is a famous Frazetta illustration from the 50s when, before he became famous illustrator and painter, he was doing comics, and for a company called Famous Funnies, he was doing covers. Absolutely stunning, brilliant drawings, masterpiece after masterpiece. And there was one where Buck Rogers is protectively extending his right arm to protect a girl, and in his left arm is a gun. And bald villain, alien, with pointy ears, ages before Mr. Spock or Submariner, is threateningly waving with a little hatchet. Anyways, I was asked to do a homage. I was asked to, not to intentionally plagiarize, is it the word plagiarize or plagiarize? To steal from Frazetta anyway. So I have credited the great late artist, and I have turned into some kind of street burly character with this hat, and instead of hatchet he has a knife, and instead of Buck Rogers there is Jettress, the girl that is not exactly pastiche of Rocketeer by Dave Stevens, fantastic, absolutely mind-boggling artist that I can't even hope to collect pencil dust of and sharpen his pencils. He has died, God rest his soul. Anyways, this is how it looks in pencils, pretty tight, but yet I considered it as a rough. And these inks are done on pencils that were transferred by me via light table, which is a drawing table only with glass and strong light source underneath so you can see the sketch. You see this sketch, and over it is a blank sheet of paper, much thicker. This is very thin ordinary bond paper for pencil sketches, and here I used brush mostly, and as you can see there is a black ink and some rather faint, almost brownish ink, which is sepia ink. I just wanted to make this combination, which I don't know if it is going to work or not. I just did it to make it different instead of just going, okay, let's do it in sepia, everything, like the girl's hair or the shorts of the heroine or her arm or the face of this mugger in the street. No, I did a little bit of black ink, a little bit of sepia. I like this cross-hatching, which is done by very, very rapidly, moving my drawing hand to create this cross-hatching area, which is some kind of half-tone shadow, considering the light source from our right-hand side. And I just assume that it looks more attractive and better than executed in ordinary plain black ink. So I have some shadows on the face of the mugger. His hair is black, his hat is black, his knife is black. Only his arm, in which he clenches the blade, is inked again with sepia, but the outlines are black ink. Same here with this girl. Her hair is in sepia to accentuate her blondness, so to speak, but her dress, her gown, is in black ink, and our Jettress, our brave heroine, is done, well, I really don't know how. What was making me to decide, okay, stop with sepia, now I'm going to use the ordinary India ink, the black ink. Oh, I'm stopping with black ink, now I'm back to sepia. I don't know. I only know that I used two brushes. One brush was for sepia ink, another one was for the black, and basically that's it. So now you see the cover, which is done for the publisher, called Mighty Female Muscle Growth Comics. It is the story about powerful ladies becoming even more powerful. I hope you are going to look up Mighty Female Muscle Growth Comics on internet or Facebook and enjoy the assortment of their a wide variety of their titles and genres, and the only connecting aspect of those comics is muscularity of the ladies. this. And now, as they say in Monty Python's Flying Circus, and now for something different. And that something different is the cover I'm doing for the same publisher, but the cover is for another title, which, as you can see, is on the verge of being humoristic, and it is BooBelle, or BooBelle. You see the heroine, the main heroine is quite, how would we say, voluptuous, so her name is BooBelle, but everybody calls her BooBelle. And we have her lady friend and somehow adversary, Lumberjane, in the process of just getting ripped seriously. And pardon me, I really beg your pardon for I forgot what is the name of the guy. I toyed with several names and I just forgot which name I should use. Anyways, buy the comic to learn it. You see some faint blue accentuations or some underdrawing or undersketch. Yes, I was sketching underneath with blue lead, and then I went with darker lead to make definitive drawing. It is similar to using light box only without light box or light table. So rough, messy blue drawing is much easier to be put in order with ordinary dark graphite pencil, and it even has this charm with this blue tint almost protruding here and there. I wondered, should I show you this? And I will. Just give me a sec to bring another pad from another room. Before you think, another pad, another Daler Rowney product placement. No, cohorts. This is Italian Accademia by Fabriano, the paper which is quite revered in my country and I presume in Italy. And here we have the blue rough for BooBelle, which is almost a variation of this cover that I have shown you, only she is alone here. No friends and partners in the story. Plus, this is done on A4 size, and previous drawings, all of them, comic pages and covers, were done on A3. But here I went for A4, and this rough suddenly, would you believe it, turned into quite tight drawing, which I wouldn't be ashamed or afraid to start inking now, as it is, without tightening in graphite pencil any aspect of this whatsoever. But I will have to. There is a little butterfly here covering one of the hoo-hoos, and there is this little overly excited bird that is sketched just like that, and I need to check the reference of my animation visuals, not to steal the bird drawn by a certain animator, no, but I would like just to study how they sorted out the beak, the head, the wings, always the big problem, and basically that's it. So now you had an insight into my little dirty mind. I'm going to put this on the side, and let's wrap our socializing today with a demonstration what I do and how I do with inking. Because this is tightened, all the rough work with search lines and wrong shapes and proportions, it is all amended in blue pencil, tightened in a dark graphite pencil, and now comes the inking. I haven't decided, am I going to use pen, marker, or brush? So let's use brush, and I'm going to prepare the brush utensils, the rinsing jar. So give me a minute, and I'm back in less than a minute. You can start counting now. And I am back. Cohorts, thanks for the patience. Let's put the jar here. Let's put this device here. Oh, by the way, do you know what is this sieve-like contraption for? When you are doing washing, you know, it is very important to wash brushes regularly because, believe it or not, India ink, even sepia ink, or any kind of chemical color stuff is the worst thing to come into brush. And if it gathers here under the ferrule, that's the name of this metallic tube which holds the hair, you can just throw it, and mind you, brushes are not cheap. So inside water you roll the brush like this over this sieve that forces ink or color to come out, and then you put this thing inside this device. Pay attention, people are charging for this wisdom. So if you are washing here, you can just hang the brush like this, you see? I didn't soak it in water, but you can comfortably just push it a little bit inside, and it is going to be in water, soaking and dissolving the ink. Now I see that whilst I was showing these things to you, I'm sweating, cohorts, I'm sweating, and my drawing paper is damaged. I need to just absorb immediately the excess humid stuff to avoid crumpling the drawing surface. Okay, so because it is unbearably hot and humid, I'm turning on my fan. By the way, this brush with a brown handle, I'm using it for sepia ink. Okay. This beauty that I have to mention the name of, Winsor Newton Series 7 brush. This beauty is used for black ink. And mind you, I'm thinking to break in the new brush that I bought and haven't used yet. It is Winsor Newton Cotman. And Cotman has the characteristic, it's not the real sable. It is nylon, acrylic hair, or acrylic bristle. Not gristle, but bristle. So, let me pull the chair here. Before I begin inking, mind you, I need to use my kneaded eraser. Kneaded eraser is almost like a putty rubber, you see? it absorbs excess graphite. Let's try it on a bear and you will see what I'm talking about. Do you see how bear head and face are becoming fainter? See? It is no more strongly defined like before. Look at his paw here. I'm going to treat it like this. Oh, by the way, on some videos you can see artists rubbing even with this kneaded eraser like this, and there is no problem, no sweat doing it. But I found that tapping rather like this is much better to make the lines fainter, so it's easier to ink with a friend of mine, Darko Perovic, invented a term, minimizing the pencil support, you know, and it helps to have cleaner and less problematic surface to ink on. So let's finish with fainting also. Lumberjane. Oh, by the way, this side is clean. I'm holding it, but this side is dirty as hell. So it's important not to get carried away. Always imprison the dirty side inside. Mold this putty rubber thingy into any shape you want. I put it into this egg shape again and continue tapping and fainting these lines here. And there we are. See how dirty it is. Do you see how dark it is because of the graphite? And now this is cleaner side and this is yuck. We don't want our drawings to be untidy and to rubber stamp dirty, gray, gooey stuff. So the time has come to start inking, and because I didn't do any warm-up whatsoever, I'm going to start with something, let's call it less demanding. I'm breaking in my new brush, so I'm going to break it in not by soaking it in the coffee, but rather against this sieve-like contraption inside the water, you see, and I do it gently because that glue kind of substance that holds the brush pointy needs to be dissolved gently. We want to avoid breaking the bristle, and so we wind up with thing good on before throwing away. And by the way, when you wash your brush with mild soap or hair shampoo until only white foam is coming out, you know how we avoid brush to get a heavy metal hairdo like this? We put it in our mouth, and with our saliva we form the proper tip. Okay, so what else do I need here? I need protection for under my drawing hand, and for that I'm going to take a piece of paper, like for instance this sketch I did of Incredible Hulk, since I don't know why I saved it, I'm going to have it under my drawing hand. Here I'm opening my bottle of ink, Inside is, I want to say the brand, but it is not the brand which is on the label of this bottle. Oh, very important. When you soak in the brush, can you see it? Don't go all the way down. Go like this. About half the bristle is more than enough. Trust me on that. On the same piece of paper, just make a few test strokes. So now it is properly pointed, and God willing, we are going to have nice strokes for these leaves. I'm actually learning how to use this brush. It is new. I'm not used to it, so I'm drawing for the very first time in my life with Cotman, and I need to be careful. Like for instance, here I'm going to define these leaves like this, and underneath them I'm going to add these less careful representation of leaves that are in shadow. Let's not forget the light is coming from top right, and if you pay attention, there is even this mushroom shaped arrow that defines in space the direction light is falling into this image. It's very important to be there just to remind us, yeah, because there are artists who are so busy and fast that sometimes they become careless and forget where the light is coming from. And when you look into their drawings, sometimes you go, whoa, look at this. His body and arms are with dark areas, like light is coming from here, and look at his face. The face is like light is coming from here. It happens. It happens, trust me, even with the best. So to avoid forgetting where the light is coming from, we need to be careful and put this reminder on a side. There is one thing that I have to tell you, and that is I dislike Cotman. Not because it is acrylic bristle, no, I'm not such a snob. Something is just wrong. It doesn't flow properly, you see. I don't have smooth movements, and this bristle just doesn't do the deed properly for me. Or maybe I should be patient and give it more chance. I really believe that this mess you are witnessing me now drawing is going to be much better looking and more credible and more leaves like when I'm done. But for now, I'm doing it like this. Maybe like this. You see, it is very important to warm up, like doing physical thing, martial arts, an instrument playing. I mean, even for singing, you have to warm up your vocal cords. And now, for this very drawing, I'm warming up by doing these leaves and how do you call it on trees in English? A crest? No? A crown? I forgot. See, I live in Serbia for ages, and since I'm not using English so frequently, I start to forget. The same is with music, the same is with drawing. If you neglect, for instance, drawing hands, it is not like bicycle, you know, or swimming. Once you learn it, it's always with you, forever. No. Trust me. If you don't do it regularly, you simply forget how it is done. And to avoid it, you must keep sketchbooks. And those sketchbooks, and I'm not going to bother you now with my sketchbooks, and I have several of them, some old, some new. It's important to remind yourself how eyes are done, how hands are done, how perspective is done. Very important thing. Do you know that perspective is so important for defining the space the characters are in and where the action takes place? And trust me on this, even not so well drawn figures look better and more credible than the best executed, proportionally correct figures with almost flawless anatomy, but in bad perspective. Then it looks like doo-doo, pardon the phrase, and I'm not sorry for using it. So respect your work, respect your client who is supposed to pay you for your endeavor, and very important, this is not done so we remain anonymous. This is done for our readers, and we have to respect people who pay the money to purchase our creative work, and we have to therefore be on the top of the game, and our game is, of course, drawing comics in this case. Well, this is not a comic page, mind you. This is rather a cover for a comic. So, whilst I'm doing this before your eyes, I realized that I made a mistake. I should have done this with a much thinner tool, either a pen, a dip pen, a nib, or maybe even a marker. Because, okay, it is not a mistake doing it with brush, but somehow I'm not happy. And I am going to blame myself and not like, you know, oh, I would have drawn this much better, you know, but it's this brush that is not to my liking. It's not obeying my commands. I mean, come on. The tool is the tool. So all I need is to learn to use it much better. Okay? As I'm doing this, maybe you are noticing my strokes are less and less unsure. Why? Because I'm getting the hang of it. Therefore, I'm going to stop showing how leaves are done and these shadows underneath and stuff like this and that and so on and so forth. So I'm going to concentrate a little bit on a bear, and because it is a furry animal, you see, I'm going to treat the contours yesteryear, so to say. And you know what? I'm going to give it a try with a different brush. Let's just empty the brush and finish this thing here. And I'm going to take another brush that I'm more accustomed to. Oh, by the way, drawing developed from doing preparation work for paintings with the writing equipment, with writing tools. And brush is the writing tool in Far East, not in Western cultural and artistic tradition, but for some reason it is used even for drawing, and there were some master artists like Rembrandt who did fantastic studies with brush. By the way, do you know why cartooning is called cartooning and cartoons? I'll tell you. Because of the Italian word cartone for cardboard. They were making these ink sketches for their murals or oil or tempera paintings on these cartones. And so, somehow, it entered the English or British or American vernacular, and we now call animation cartoons, we call comics and those funny jokes in single panel also cartoons. You see, for now I'm going to leave it to dry, and I'm taking the trusty Winsor Newton beauty, the queen of brushes. It's made for watercoloring, you know, but for some reason guys who draw discovered these Winsor Newtons, in particular Series 7, as God-given for inking, you know. Do we see this properly? All right. This is much better, you see? It gives much thinner, much more controlled line. I am more happy than anything to work with Series 7. Thin, thick, thin. Brush is absolutely the best for this kind of thin, thick, thin. I have to tell you, I would never, ever have such control of line with Cotman. Never. Look how beautifully this looks like when done with this classic Winsor Newton. Of course, some of you might ask, oh, why didn't you ink Lumberjane first and then the bear? I don't know, and I don't care. Seriously. This is joy to do. I remember working with a friend of mine. We worked together. We had some deadlines to crush. And I adored looking how my little bit older and more experienced colleague works. And mind you, he also looked at me, how I work, and he was watching me inking, and he said, "Oh, that's not good." And I said, "What? Am I drawing so badly?" And he said, "No, no, no. It's not good because it's so obvious how much you love what you are drawing." And I said, "What? Is it so bad?" And he said, "No, you're not supposed to get lost in admiring what you are doing." And then I remember how some experienced artists used to advise younger cartoonists, don't fall in love with your drawings. Like writers advising young poets or prosaists, never ever fall in love with what you are writing. So probably I mustn't do that either. And I am now forcing myself not exactly to repeat in my thoughts, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. No, no, but just, I don't want to go, wow, what a beautifully executed furry ear. Is it? Well, maybe it is. You see how I'm holding the brush? Not like pen or pencil, rather like this. So it rests here. And it is more in the vertical fashion than in this writing position. That's how I found what suits me the best when I'm drawing, and I made a doo-doo here. I need to correct it with whiteout later. Not good. That's why it is important not to fall in love with what you are drawing, you know. It is also quite important to know the nature of each tool. You can't draw the same with dip pen or with brush. You know? Every tool has its own requirements and nature, so you must recognize it, know it, and use it accordingly. Okay, I can't look at this. Let me try to find where is, oh, this is too much of a mess here. White out. So I let it dry, and in the meantime I might actually start doing some work on lumberjane like this. See? I'm not covering, you see, each and every line, like repeating. Rather, I'm using the penciled lines as a guide for placing these lines. It is important to realize that these lines on top, they are thinner, you see, but these lines on bottom, they are thicker. And that gives a nice balanced look to what we are drawing, you see? I have problem with my glasses. I did go to optometrist, and the lady, doctor, she told me that my prescription is alright, and I told her that it's not. I sometimes need to take, you know, a magnifying glass because I simply can't see what I'm drawing, you know, so I must use the magnifying glass to see better what I'm doing. And she said, oh, no, 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 you mustn't do it. Oh, it's going to damage your eyesight. And I said, but inappropriate prescription is going to damage my eyesight even worse. And she said, no, your prescription is fine. You just need to get used to it. I can't get used to it. And whilst I'm talking to you, I have to tell you that my vision is so bad that sometimes, like in this case, I'm guessing, really I'm guessing, am I away of paper, from paper, or am I touching it? You see, if I put my head on a side, I see it at the tip of the brush, whether it is away or touching the surface. But it is really a bad case, maybe the worst imaginable case scenario, if I'm in a situation, like very frequently I am, that I simply don't know how far or how close I am to the paper or from the paper. I can't do a thing. The lady doctor said my glasses are fine. I say they are not. And who cares what I, as a patient, feel and what I see or can't see. During talking about this, during inking these things, I haven't soaked this brush. I'm inking at the moment for the second time. This is the very first soaking in. And the Cotman, remember? All these things I had to dip it frequently, which means the bristle is not holding ink properly. And that's bad. Very, very, very bad. And you know what? My eyes hurt me. They hurt me so badly that I had to stop. And let's leave it as it is. This is a little demo how inking is done over tight pencils. I'm going to put this on a side. I promise I will return later to continue inking this under the camera. Feel free to write in comments beneath this video whether you are interested in seeing further adventures with brush on paper. So I have washed or rinsed my brush in the jar. Now I'm taking this device and I'm running the brush here against this sieve device, and it is how would I say, pushing out. It's pushing out the ink from the hair and from underneath the ferrula, and I think that it is done. So I put now my brush handle here, and the tip of the brush is safely inside water. So I'll let it release further what needs to be released from the brush, and I'm wrapping this up by saying thank you for your attention. Wow, 1 hour, 1 minute, 47 seconds. So all this in just 1 hour. My oh my, this takes time. Thank you for your attention. Be good. Don't let anyone make you feel afraid, and stay happy, healthy, and creative. Bye for now. Boyan signing out.